Hello again, everyone. I'm Charles Gross.
And I'm Leslie Hoban Blake.
Welcome to Two on the Aisle. Tonight we're going to talk about
Dorian Gray, the Picture of Dorian Gray. You know, everybody knows that name. Not a lot of people know the story. There was a 1940s movie of the Picture of Dorian Gray with, you know, an entire cast. This is billed as a solo performance, but it's not. It's not just one person on stage. By the way, the actress who's doing it is Sarah Snook, whom most of us know from Succession. I don't know whether you ever watched it, but
I have not.
I loved her. She won all sorts of awards. She's lovely. And she plays all the men and all the women, and she's got a director who knows how to use cameras and...
I think he calls it Cinatheatre, which is actually a very good name for it.
But it's not theater. It's not theater. It's like what Randy Rainbow does. Randy Rainbow will put up 42 characters, and he's playing all of them, and it's on a bunch of screens. But it's not theater.
But she is.
She's in a theater.
She's in a theater, and she's almost always live. There are times when she has to interact with other characters, right. And it's amazing how she can do it because one character is always live. In fact, you can look behind the cameras and see her doing it.
And they do some very cute things. But let me just quickly, for anybody who doesn't know the story, and it's very brief, and it got Oscar Wilde into so much trouble because of the subtext, which was very homoerotic. So, and people knew. They looked right through it, and they knew what was going on at the time. We don't really know who those people were. So there's a beautiful young man named Dorian Gray, and he has his portrait painted by a very famous portrait painter, and one of the rakes around town, R-A-K-E-S, rakes, which is, you know, it meant that a guy would walk around town and twiddle his mustache, and run after women or men or whatever. So this rake takes a fancy to Dorian Gray, who does not fancy him back. But he makes a friendship out of it. And Dorian Gray says at one point, "Oh, if only I could stay young and this picture could grow old." That's literally what he says. He said, "I would give my soul." And you get like a, and that's what happens.
He gets his wish, and he does not age. But it's more than that, because his behavior, you know, he goes to the dark side, and he goes deeper and deeper, and that, more so than as much as his age, is reflected on the portrait. It's interesting because my wife is a big Oscar Wilde fan, and we have like a deal. Anytime I go to see Oscar Wilde,
she's got to be good.
Except this was the exception.
Aww.
She would not come to this. This is an amazing performance by Sarah Snook.
Why wouldn't she come to this?
Because she doesn't like the story.
Oh, okay. Well, you see.
And it is so intense. She's going full throttle for the whole show, and it is amazing. I don't see how she sustains this. And I felt the force of it, and the way the multimedia works, it's hammering down on you. I'm not sure I'd want to experience it again, but it was an amazing experience.
Once I got used to what it was, as opposed to what it wasn't, you know, because I had just come from seeing Vanya, which is a one-person show with one person, and it's a real one-person show. And we've shown you the playbill cover, and the cover is what we see while we're watching the show. You see multiple views of the same thing, and it can be very confusing. It's very hard to focus on what it is you're actually doing. But it is her all the time. She is on stage all the time, whether she's actually live or changing clothes behind the camera or you know, running off to do this or something.
Well, supposedly she is always live. Obviously, she can't be more than one character,
but
because they're dressed up.
There was a seating like in the old Alec Guinness movie, Kind Hearts and Coronets, of an entire family. They were all her, and they were all dressed, you know, and they were all sitting there. Now, obviously, and she pops up behind them, you know, and that's the way they work that. So, I mean, it's a gimmick. It's a big gimmick. It's a swing and a hit, not a miss. But
absolutely,
I wouldn't want to see anything else done this way.
Yeah,
it's not theater for me.
It's theatrical, though.
Yeah, well, and she's fantastic doing it.
And you have to, you know, if you're willing to accept that this is a different kind of presentation, then, and that the director is not cheating, he is actually creating something using both theater and television, or, you know,
You use
like
the word,
that.
though, cheat. We've started to see screens and everything. I mean, screens in Sunset Boulevard,
Right.
for goodness sakes. So I find that the screen thing is cheating. If you remember 2 years ago, my favorite show of the whole year was an old-fashioned Christmas Carol. Not a screen in sight, not a projection,
Right.
just old-fashioned, whatever you could do in a theater in the old days. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant and beautiful and wonderful and theatrical. Amazing, because that's that old thing about you can light a match in the theater and burn down a building. In a movie, you have to burn down the building, you know? So I don't
Yeah.
find this to be...
I get it.
I find this to be dangerous.
Okay.
And I'm going to go see Stranger Things, and I understand it's going to be even more.
All right. Well, we shall see. But I will still give this 4 playbills.
Oh,
It really,
I will give her 5 for what she does, and I will give the director and the concept 4.
Right, and that is out of 5
Yes.
being the maximum. Okay.
But
All right. And that is our show for this evening. When you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too.
on the aisle.